Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Thank you, KK. Phil and Ryan on Listen Up. Ryan, a quick turnaround like I told you. We're coming to everyone on this beautiful Friday, chilly Friday night, November 8th. A quick turnaround for the UConn women's basketball team, Ryan, as they turn the page to the second game of the regular season, and that is South Florida, part of the American Athletic Conference. And Ryan, they are head coached by Jose Fernandez. Let me tell you, Ryan, they come into this matchup 2-0, right? But I know you got a lot to break down for us as far as the roster that is. And they have a very, very tough test in front of them, to say the least, in UConn when they face them at 4:30 on Sunday. And unfortunately, well, fortunately for our viewers, they'll be able to catch you right after the game. They won't have to wait. But unfortunately, I won't be here.
Yeah, well, we definitely go into the second game of the season after a very, very hot season opener. Huskies have a home matchup against the South Florida Bulls. Bulls are already 2-0 on the year from the AAC conference. South Florida's had some recent success in their most recent seasons, that is, making it to the postseason 3 years in a row to March Madness. So definitely not a pushover team. UConn, though, is 26-0 all time against South Florida, so not a very good matchup for the Bulls, unfortunately. Last matchup, however, was in the Bahamas in 2021, and it was actually a close game. The Huskies only won that one by just 7 points. But the Bulls team is definitely, like I said, no pushover. UConn cannot take them lightly. It's a fairly deep roster with a pretty talented starting five. Rami Levy and Lior and Putu are the forwards, along with the guards, who are definitely not afraid to shoot the three ball. I'm definitely expecting a lot of 3-point attempts from South Florida in this game. And keep an eye on the senior guard, Sammy Puyisis. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Coming off the bench, she scored double-digit points in both games coming off the bench for South Florida. So keep an eye out on her. And I think pretty similar to the last game as well. I think South Florida is going to use a lot of substitutions, just like we saw in the first game for UConn with their opponent. But I think for UConn in this game, they need to keep focusing on their defense, creating those turnovers. That's what makes it so hard for these teams to compete with UConn. They get so much pressure, and it's hard for these teams to get a good shot off at times against the Huskies. So I want to see that defensive pressure keep that momentum rolling from last game, and I think UConn should be fine.
All right. A lot of great comments from the last game recap. And by the way, I got so many replies and comments, Ryan. I had to tell you. They loved the update on the new thumbnail picture. Ryan just, it looks like you had your popcorn in one hand and in the other hand with your fist up, right? Fist up, and you're like pumping at the TV. You're like, let's go Huskies, right? So, man, look. I had to tell you that so many people thought highly of that thumbnail picture. Let's go over to comments, and then we will leave our predictions, obviously, like always, at the end of this video. Uh, Actually, talk about thumbnails, Ryan. The thumbnail game is slowly evolving. Love you guys, and that was some Torin Bianchi.
Yeah, well, we gotta change it up every once in a while. So though we've only done it one time before, of course, with both of our faces on it, I believe. So yeah, I think for a couple of the game recaps, we're gonna alternate to put our faces on the thumbnail picture. So it's probably get a good kick out of that for you guys during this whole season.
Jason D'Amico said, post game thoughts. Holy crap, Paige is surrounded by shooters. Jana and Sarah are going to terrorize the opposition, even though the youngins make some mistakes. They seem wise beyond their years. Peace. P.S. Have you all checked out Amari DeBerry lately? Whoa. No, I have not. So might want to go over and search that name, Ryan.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Amari, I think she played 25 minutes. I think she had a pretty good first game. I think Ines Betancourt as well for Gonzaga. It kind of looks like she's going to be the starting guard for them. I think she had a pretty good first game for Gonzaga as well. So of course we love to see former Husky players playing great with their respective
Sailor
teams.
Poffenbarger. Sailor Poffenbarger with Maryland, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we love to see the former Huskies do great with the teams they chose to sign with in the transfer portal. But yeah, great first game. Paige is definitely surrounded by a lot of talented shooting guards and forwards as well. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Let's go up to just me. You said great win against Boston U. It was good to see all available players get time on the floor. Yes, it was, Ryan. They all played well. Gino should have no problem rotating players this year and giving them rest without losing performance on the floor. And that's the big thing. I felt so guilty because I didn't talk about Aaliyah Edwards the other night, Ryan, on the game recap. But I was talking about it just feeling different. Well, Phil didn't point out the obvious. Ryan, it's just different because it's that many more available players, talented players, healthy players on the roster.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's going to be interesting to see if Gino plays them when they face these tougher opponents, and maybe it's a little closer of a game. But I definitely think for this next game against South Florida, definitely expected to see everybody on the court. I think we will probably have 10 available players again on the floor, so definitely expecting to see all 10 of them again in this game on Sunday.
This one is I never saw this username before, but this person said, another great job, Phil and Rye. Hey, we appreciate you a lot. You make free and post games very interesting with your commentary and talk about specific players. Yes, tonight's game was absolutely fantastic, but you got to remember one thing. Boston College is probably not much better than a decent high school player team at this point. They are only okay. At the rate they did look for the first two quarters, they should have ended up with all over 110 points. Ryan, you said the same. The fact they slacked off in the third or fourth quarters was a little bit disturbing. I'm sure Gino will comment on this. Another thing is I've asked this question before, so maybe we can get some kind of answer. I live in Rhode Island. What is the easiest and best way to pick up the game? I've tried UConn Plus. I've tried WWX. I've tried SNY Networks, but I lost your pay. Big bucks. You can't get the game. Does anyone have any suggestions for this? Greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, first of all, I think definitely like I said in the game recap, definitely expecting a little more points, at least probably 10 more is what I was expecting UConn to score. But, definitely got the job done to get the win. And that was mostly because of their defense. I mean, holding, like I said, we understand it was just Boston University, but against any team to hold them to 32 points throughout all four quarters is pretty good defense. So yeah, I think but yeah, for or in terms of watching the games, I know I use the Fox Sports app and then sign into my TV provider. So I'm not sure if that works for different states, but it works for me here in Maryland. So maybe try the Fox Sports app, sign in with your TV provider, and see if that works.
Predictions on Listen Up. Last check in, Ryan, before Sunday at 4:30. Who do you have winning and the score?
Yeah, I don't, I think this is well, it's probably going to be a little closer than the first one, but still expecting a blowout. So I'm going to say UConn 91, South Florida 63.
All right, I'll go with UConn over South Florida Bulls. UConn winning this one 90 to 55. How about that, Ryan? 90 to 55. And Ryan, I will leave it up to you, bud. I appreciate all your hard work, and I will not see you, unfortunately, on Sunday, but I will see you for the next episode, which will be the last check in for the third game. Ryan, good luck to you, and good luck to the UConn Huskies on Sunday at 4:30 from Gamble Pavilion. Ryan, that place sounds all too familiar, doesn't it? Phil and Rye on Listen Up.